welcome to the W Basketball Show. I'm your host Lucas, joined this week by Marco. Marco, how are you?
Really good, man. How are you?
I'm well, dude. Wednesday, the 9th of October, 2024 in Australia was a beautiful day. Sun was out without any interruption, really.
No, not at all. It was a classic spring morning. Like, it was quite cold outside, but it just warmed up slowly. Also, first week of daylight savings, so it's not going down anytime soon.
Yeah. How are you going with daylight savings?
Man, I got so lucky. Well, look, I've had 2 bad sleeps, so that's just got to be related to it somehow. let's bookend it with that.
Yeah.
But on Saturday night, I didn't do anything. You know, as usually you do something. I swear, every daylight saving switch, I'm doing something on the Saturday, and I'm like, fuck, I fucked it. You know.
Last year was the granny.
Yeah. And then I think the switch over this year, which was actually good. I was at a club, and I was like, oh, we got an extra hour at the club.
You get an hour less.
No, when it went when daylight savings finished at the beginning of this year. Yeah. So, you know, I feel like I'm always like aware of it.
Yeah.
I completely forgot about it. Went to bed at 11 p.m. Woke up at 9 a.m. and me and Alex were like, oh fuck, like, we really slept in. And it's like, nah, not at all. Like,
9 hours is still a good chunk.
Yeah, but you got 9 hours and then you've like woke up at a normal time. Like, and you're telling your body like, hey, it's 9 a.m.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. What about you?
I feel like you've had a pretty positive experience on the night off. But I think, I was thrown off kilter by that night.
Yeah.
Like the daylight savings night. And then I was pretty out of sorts on the Monday at work. Another thing I need to talk to you about, the hay fever. What the fuck is going on there? Monday was the worst day. With all of the medication, with the worst experience I've had with hay fever.
Yeah, right. I had that on Friday.
Yeah. So it must be something about this time of year. But I feel like I've gamed daylight savings.
Yeah, good.
Which is usually it takes me the full week.
Yeah.
And then that weekend my body will readjust. But no, I feel like I'm fully in tune. And then, you know, back in my younger years, I would be like, I kind of hate the later sunset.
Really?
Because of my sleeping issues.
Oh.
And now I'm just like, it's awesome. This is so good. It's great that the sun is up at 7:30 p.m.
I'm like, I'm just so much happier already.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I didn't work today, which is, you know, that's a huge bonus in and of itself. But I left the gym at about 4:30, and I went to the supermarket. I bought a packet of Mission chili and lime chips. Mission, if you're listening, this is the second time I've mentioned you on the pod, so, you know, just keep that in mind. I bought a 6-pack of beers, and like the prospect of like eating some chips and drinking a beer felt like so real. And I feel like in winter, like you leave work at 5 and you're like, the sun's gonna go down in 15 minutes, so like I should go home, eat dinner, and go to bed. Or, you know, that's it.
Yeah.
Whereas, just, you know, the world's your oyster now. There's so many things you can do.
Elongates today. I don't know if you mentioned you had a day off today.
I did, yeah.
Yeah. Do you mention that?
Yeah, I did, yeah.
Oh, no shit. Fuck, there you go. That's why you said that. That led into all of this. And what a day off it was to have. But a much more spoken about issue on this podcast is this podcast network. Not just this show. Hay fever.
Yeah.
What's going on? Monday, my eyes were watering all day long. I did sea salt spray to start, Telfast 180, steroid spray, another steroid spray later in the day. Sea salt sprays whenever the sinus, the tract started to feel all, you know, clogged. Nothing. I felt like it was
really?
like, I feel like, actually, I could feel the effects of it. I was like, how bad would this be if I didn't do any of that stuff? And it would have been catastrophic. Yeah. Like I would have left work. But what's happening? You said you got coworkers that have had it for the first time in their life.
Yeah.
What's going on? Can you tell? Do you have answers?
I don't have any answers. Sorry, Lucas. But yeah, like on Friday, I just felt nauseous all day. And like, again, I'd done exactly what you described. And like to the point where I was at Alex's house, hanging out with her housemates at like 9 p.m. or something. I'm like, I feel so sick. I think I have to go to bed. And I was like up and down to the toilet and stuff like that. Woke up the next morning, still felt sick. Had a Telfast, felt better. And I'm like, I think I'm literally like, my allergies are so bad, my body is like breaking down.
Oh, okay. I've been experiencing this as well.
And then on Monday, I was talking to my coworker Isabel and my coworker Mum. And they were both being like, yeah, like Isabel's like, yeah, I just feel a bit nauseous today. And Mum was like, oh yeah, I was feeling nauseous on Sunday as well. I'm like, we all get hay fever. Like, and it's so bad, it's making us sick.
Yeah. Okay. Because I had been texting you about this. It's good to know that other people have been experiencing, you know, extraneous variables, like extraneous symptoms as well. My throat. Oh my God. It feels like, you know, there's like cars from the 90s and earlier, the AC had like, something that kept it cool that is like now really unsafe to put in cars. Yeah. That's what it felt like it was in the back of my throat. I'd wake up every day like I can't swallow without like sharp razor pains. Right. So I started taking Difflam as well.
Oh my God.
So now I have 4 medications just because like the flowers are a bit too strong right now.
Yeah.
But okay, that's good. It's good to know. Yeah. It's good to know I'm one of the many.
And like you said, like it's at the point where hay fever's getting a shout out on the Deep to NBA podcast, the most serious podcast on this network. Dante mid-show having to do the nasal spray, the Telfast 180, and pseudoephedrine. Like that's crazy. Yeah. In the middle of the podcast.
Yeah. And it was a should we take a break moment.
Yeah.
But that's not why we're here today.
No. We're not here to talk about how the sun is setting later. We're here to talk about the sun that just set today.
Oh, shit, yeah, bro. The Minnesota Lynx completed the
3-2 series win.
Going the full 5 yards with the Connecticut Sun. Game 5 in the books today. Game 1 of the WNBA Finals is Friday our time.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's awesome. Yeah.
Imagine being Connecticut or Mini and like you go into this game and either your season is over or you have the finals in 2 days. Yeah. Those are high stakes.
Yeah.
And yeah, Mini kind of had the scoreboard all game long. It was a bit of an arm wrestle for the first few minutes, but goddamn, man, like they really had a good buffer all game long. What were your takeaways just from Game 5?
Mini were fully in control, even when, the Sun are a team that just don't go away. And you said this pre-pod, like, they don't play like they're 20 down. They play like they're controlling the game.
Yeah.
And, they had that stretch at the beginning of the second half where I don't think Mini scored for like 4 minutes 30 or something, and they got the lead to like 12 points. But then Mini went on their own run and like the Sun didn't make a field goal for like 6 minutes or something. So yeah, they were just completely locked in. I was just astounded by, and like I think, and this will be very pertinent when we come to talking about the finals matchup, like their depth is so good. Courtney Williams had such an amazing first half today.
Yeah. This is the Lynx now.
The Lynx, yes. Emulating her hero Chelsea Gray. She was 6 of 6 at halftime or something like that, and then like she lost the rhythm, but she was still really good. And she was making really big passes. Has such good pick and roll chemistry with Collier. And then Natisha Heidemann just came off the bench, I think, during that Sun run at the beginning of the third quarter, and just like got the Lynx back in control by herself. And those are like probably the 5th and 6th best players, in their rotation. And yeah, to have them there to sort of take back control of the game is just like so valuable.
Yeah, and they've really been working off each other very well. And there's just this higher thing that all the Minnesota Lynx players are playing for. And there's games where Williams doesn't pout when she has to take a back seat and Heidemann comes in. And then Heidemann comes in and like you actually don't know what she's going to add to the game. I don't think like Cheryl Reeve has a plan. It's just like, let's just see if you're going to be a playmaker or a scorer today. Yeah. And she's always one of them. And the whole team is just gelling so well. They're really... they've kind of rolled to the finals. They've kept up their momentum throughout the season, and I think this is the 2 best teams. I think Lynx Liberty are the 2 best teams over the space of the season. I mean, being first and second, kind of Yeah, it kind of buries the lead there. But there was some form of like big sister, little sister thing with the Sun and the Lynx. I felt like this in this series.
Yeah.
And I feel like the Lynx really needed to. Actually, let's go to your series for a sec. The Liberty Aces. That one Aces win felt so catastrophic for the Liberty.
Yeah.
And like anytime the Sun win against the Lynx, it's like, oh no, it's going to happen again.
Yeah.
And the Aces wins against the Liberty. Sorry, the Sun wins against the Lynx. The Aces wins against the Liberty. It just feels like, oh no, this team definitely is still in control of. Even though both teams ended up winning the series, they're still in control of who they beat in last year's playoffs. What do you feel like is different about this Sun team compared to last year's?
I think there's like more dynamism at the guard spots. Like Dejanay Carrington was so good in this game. I'm looking at her line and it's not great. But
It doesn't capture what she was doing on the court.
She was like doing so much defensively and then like kind of like single-handedly started their comeback at the beginning of the second half. But yeah, I think on the sort of other side of it, like they just haven't kept up with the improvements that all the other top tier teams have made, especially the Lynx. Like the Lynx added huge players, like, Alana Smith might be one of the best free agent signings, of the year. And then all of their players took huge steps forward, as well. Whereas, like the big three of the Sun is like pretty set in how they play and how good they are and how good they play off each other. Wasn't heaps of like Alyssa Thomas domination in this series, like she obviously has done so many times before. Has she won a championship?
I think so. I think they won one recently, in the late teens. But are you fact checking?
Yeah,
that?
I'm fact checking.
I would
I meant to look this up before because
yeah. Well, I agree
no championship.
Oh well, there you go.
Yeah.
Well, I think we've been wrong about that before on the podcast. But I agree. I feel like she wasn't as deadly in this series. Like there were, and I'm comparing her to a player that always seems like she's the main person. She's the main character in every series that she's ever played in.
Yeah.
And compared to that, she wasn't that in this series.
Yeah.
I don't feel like there was probably a game where she was that player. And it does feel like it was kind of a step back thing rather than like a Nafisa Collier being that much better, even though she is that much better. If there were more limitations to Alyssa Thomas's game this year. Because she was like, I remember she was like matching up against Stewie in the Sun Liberty series last year, and there were like long stretches where it's like, is Alyssa Thomas just better than Brianna Stewart?
Yeah.
And I'd say the same thing about Dejanay Carrington. Like, I would say she's probably around the 20th best player in the league. But like, how the NBA GM surveys came out today, and some fucking idiots didn't pick Jokic for best center in the league. And you look at them and you're like, oh, you're an idiot.
Yeah.
But like, if a GM were to pick Dejanay Carrington for like best player in the league, I'd be like, I wouldn't do that. But like quietly, I'd be like, I do love that you did that.
Yeah.
I fully back picking her.
She's not Domantas Sabonis.
Yeah. There's something about her. There's something that she brings to the game where it's like she could be the best player on the court right now. And then I think she was.
I think she was for like 2 minutes.
Today. Yeah. And she just didn't quit. But I think the biggest thing is no Beck Allen. I feel like she was crucial to the way they were playing last year. And they were really missing that connecting piece, that actual wing-sized player that actually played the wing. Because, you got Bonner, Thomas, and Brianna Jones as your front court. None of them are really wings, And Beck Allen is exactly that. And then, the Sun have this incredible backcourt and incredible backcourt depth. And, they brought in Marina Mabry and she got a quick 5 points or something. But that's also when the Lynx started to make their comeback and take over the scoreboard really early in the game. So I think they're missing that player, that like super toolsy player that can pop up and score if needed, but just connects everything and makes everything easier and defends the other team's best player, but doesn't just defend them, defends them well.
And like the addition of Mabry was so necessary because like they just didn't. Their offense was just stagnating. They just needed that sort of injection. But you're right, she didn't bring any of that sort of connective that Beck Allen does. I want to talk about Duana Bonner for a second, just because you brought it up. She's such an odd player.
Yeah.
Like, and I mean that in such a good way. Yeah, like she doesn't play like a wing, and she plays like a forward, a 4. But then sometimes she plays like a guard as well, and she's also really good at like lots and lots of stuff. Like she's an excellent defender. She's a good scorer. She's a good passer. Like she's good off the dribble. She's never ever been a like efficient player, or an excellent shooter. But like she's just found a way to contribute. Look at her career. Like the fact she hasn't been. I don't know. I feel like there should just be like a top 3 in MVP season somewhere in there. But like she's just never like quite. I don't know. Either quite been good enough or quite been recognized enough for sort of how toolsy and versatile she is. I really enjoyed watching her today. I was just thinking about it. I'm just like, I just don't know. I just don't know who you are.
Yeah. I feel like the Storm have had a series against them in recent years, or maybe it was the Lynx series last season, and I was rooting I wasn't rooting against the Sun, but I was rooting for the team they were coming up against. And she's like the one of those like hating to play against them, you'd love them if they're on your team sort of players. She did start her she's 6. I thought it was.
I'm looking at Basketball Reference.
Yeah, I thought that was 3 DPOYs to start a career. 6
person of the year to start a career.
6 POYs. Yeah, she's. I know what you mean about like the efficiency stuff. Is like this season she shot 29% from 3.
Yeah.
This series she had one game where she shot 25% from 3. The other 4 games are 42.9% or better, which famously is 3 of 7, 3.9 or better. Shout out Dante. But yeah, she's very like, I think goes back to the toolsy thing, and like her and Alyssa Thomas just bring so much to the table.
Yeah.
And they just get shit done. Brianna Jones, looking at the game log now, I feel like you do want her to be a guaranteed avenue for points. 3 games ending up in single digit scoring. 2 of them they won, so go figure. But yeah, I don't exactly know why this team lost this game. Maybe it is that they're like top heavy, they're like tall heavy and small heavy, but they need those wing size players.
Yeah, and I think this year, I just think the Lynx are just better this year.
Yeah, true.
Okay, 2 things. So, firstly, Duana Bonner, I think they said during the game, leads. She's the all-time WNBA playoff. I don't know if it was rebounds or defensive rebounds, but she leads one of those categories all time. And she's second in playoff points all time. She's just like
no shit.
Just bizarre because she doesn't feel like, like we said, she's never been top 3 in MVP. She's never been like the best player on her team. But she's just been to the playoffs so many times.
Yeah, she's just produced in the playoffs that many times that she just makes it on longevity.
Exactly. And then I guess my second point is the Sun. Like they've been this juggernaut basically since we started following the league, and probably the year before that as well. And they just haven't gotten there.
Yeah,
I think it'll be a real shame if this like Sun core, is split up, or Bonner or Alyssa Thomas retire before they win a championship. But like it does feel like, I don't know. I don't want to be too harsh, but it feels like a failure. It feels like you should come away with 1 chip from like 5 years of absolute dominance. And it's so hard. It's so hard to win a professional sports championship. Yeah. And especially like the WNBA has been so good and so competitive. Yeah. Like there hasn't been a year where it was just up for grabs. You know? You've had to go up against like some legendary teams every single year. Last year, it was, the 2 most top heavy stacked teams ever assembled. And this year it's the same thing.
Yeah.
But like, I think it'll be sort of that weird thing where like the Sun were really good, but like they just never ever got it done.
Yeah, isn't this year like such a good example as to why last year was like everything going exactly right for WNBA fans?
Yeah,
like
right.
The Aces and the Liberty. Now that we've seen this year, they could have messed something up.
Yeah,
and they just didn't mess it up last year. And then the Sun were better last year. Like last year's Sun team could beat this Lynx team. In the playoffs. And they gave the Liberty a run for their money in the semifinals last year, the Sun. And the league was super strong last year as well. So, that's just a fucking little tidbit for anyone. It just adds to the lore, the dad lore.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think maybe it is. I don't know if it's harsh enough to. I think circumstantially, the Sun. I think it makes sense that they never won a ring. But I thought where you were going to go was I think the window's now closed.
Yeah.
Like I don't know how.
I don't know how they get better next year.
I don't know how they get better. I don't see if this is how Thomas is looking in the playoffs. Like this is unless it comes out that she had an injury, which I feel like could have been the case.
Yeah.
But like I even though Brianna Jones is still pretty young, I just feel like she's kind of plateaued.
Yeah. Yeah. She didn't take that like. She took a bit of a leap after John Cole Jones left, but like not the one they were expecting.
Yeah.
Not the year-on-year improvement.
Yeah. And then she was hampered by injury as well. Duana Bonner, I just feel like she could play like this until she's 60. Yeah. But yeah, I don't see Alyssa Thomas getting like going back to the player she was last season, just in terms of like deadliness.
Yeah.
Dejanay Carrington, I feel like will improve, but like who are they going to bring in? Like, can they fit another player onto this team? You know, like. I don't know how that's all going to work out. So unfortunately, this might be the end, the closing of the window for the Connecticut Sun.
Yeah, it does feel like that. And like next year, the Liberty are going to be just as good. The Lynx will probably be better again.
Yeah.
The Aces are either going to, maybe we can talk about that in a sec, but they're either going to be the same team they were this year, or they're going to like have a different look that will be just as good. And then like there's just plenty of other teams snapping at their heels.
Yeah.
So like the Sun could be they could be the fourth best team in the league again next year.
Yeah. Well, let's go to the Aces. So 3-1 series win for the New York Liberty. The one Aces win I think showed that they still are a team that is thereabouts for a championship. But I think the team would be better next year. Yeah. I feel like it kind of still feels like their season hasn't started. And I don't know, was there a 10-game stretch where it was like, all right, we're rolling now.
Yeah.
And I guess there wasn't. Were there any? Who did you bring in last off season? There was Gustafsson.
We brought in Tiffany Hayes.
Yeah. Brought her out of retirement.
Kate Martin. Yeah. We drafted and she looked good, and then just when you go 6-6 in your first 12 games, like you just can't play the rookie anymore if they're not contributing completely to start with. Not huge personnel changes, no.
Yeah. So I think you need to bring in like a starter, like a proper like someone a little bit worse than Alana Smith.
Yeah.
Like you need to bring that sort of signing in.
Yeah.
But I think the team will be better next year. I just think. Well, how long you've been good for so long now?
Yeah,
you're gonna have a down year.
Yeah. And like we had Chelsea Gray injury, and then so Kia Stokes got concussed before game 3, and then didn't come back for game 4.
Yeah.
Which then when I was watching game 4, I was like, oh, we're like tiny compared to the Liberty without Stokes, putting in 25-30 minutes. Like Fijovic is 6'4", and Alicia Clark is 5'11", and she's guarding Brianna Stewart on so many plays. So I think the thing is, if we'd been rolling all season like we were the year before, that sort of like matchup stuff doesn't matter. We just have so much firepower. And like we saw in, especially the second half of game 3, we did really well taking Ionescu out of the game, take John Cole Jones out of the game. And then just our defense was insane. It was just impenetrable. I think it was in the third quarter. I think we went in with a little lead at halftime, and then we just demolished them. Yeah. In the third quarter. So that can happen, and then things like your 4 being 5 inches shorter than the opposing team's 2. It doesn't matter as much. But I think the lesson is we do need to like you said, go out and get. I think it's probably the same thing as the Sun. It's we need like a wing size starter. Yeah. Because Liberty have Ionescu, who is like a big guard. and then everyone else is basically like wing or big size.
Yeah.
You know? Like, if it's going to be really hard to compete against them again. But
Yeah. Yeah, you definitely need to, with Kia Stokes out, Jonquel Jones looks so much bigger when the other team's starting big isn't out there. And she really uses her advantages to her advantage in those cases. But I think an experienced player needs to come into this team.
Yeah.
If you do want to, if you want to get back to that to the level of a champion team, because Asia's going to be rolling.
Yeah.
You just have to roll with Chelsea Gray's health.
Yeah.
I think Kelsey Plum needs to take another step towards backwards. Backwards in terms of her career timeline. But take another step upwards. I think Jackie Young and Kelsey Plum especially really thrives off having another excellent player.
Yeah.
And they showed how good they can play and how well they can complement excellence. I think there's still a few championship runs in this team.
Yeah.
But you need to bring players in.
Yeah, for sure.
Well,
just a few things from this game. Aces only had 2 turnovers at halftime.
Yeah.
Still somehow managed to lose the game. Jackie Young had an absolute stinker. 1 of 10 shooting. Leonie Fijovic, what the fuck? So good.
Yeah.
Just anytime she was guarding one of our perimeter players, it was there's no point.
Yeah.
You're not going to get the shot off, or you're going to drive and you're going to lose the ball. Plus 28 in 28 minutes. That's absolutely crazy.
She's fully starting.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, they were just beginning of the playoffs, hey, do you mind starting on our finals run?
Yeah.
And she stepped up. I'm that sort of, that's probably the sort of thing we were lacking this offseason, is that sort of depth, sort of player. Alicia Clark's really good, Tiffany Hazer is really good, but we just need an absolute, just need a role playing wing to just put in that sort of defensive effort that we haven't really had.
Yeah.
The NBA moves so quickly these days, it's hard to keep up. Shams and Woj are breaking stories left and right, but the Quick Time Out is right there with them to keep you informed on the latest NBA news. Stop in and let us break it down as it happens. Find the Quick Time Out on the Deep 2 Podcast Network.
All right, well, moving forward. New York Liberty, Minnesota Lynx, the WNBA Finals. Man, speaking of that little mess up there, I had the most scattered conversation with the butcher before I came.
Oh,
here. Yeah. Neither of us were on the same page at any point of the conversation. I was putting in a pre-order for 20 lamb cutlets to pick up on Friday. And I was like, hey man, do you mind if I get 20... do you mind if I make a pre-order for Friday? And the guy was like, yeah. I was like, could I get 20 lamb cutlets? And then I was looking at the cricket because it was just on the screen. And he was like, I thought you said 20 South African da-da-da. I think he might have said 20 South African wickets. And I just laughed either way. I was like, I'm not... what the fuck's going on here? And then he was like, could I get your number? And I was like, oh, my number? And he was like, nah, your name? And I was like, oh, Lucas. And then I was like, and then he was like, yep. And then he was like, all right, can I get your name? And I was like, my name? And he was like, can I get your number? And I was like, yeah. And then here's my number. And then we both just left the conversation we both could have done more.
Yeah.
We both could have helped that along.
It can be like that with the butcher sometimes.
Yeah.
There's they want you to just know everything as well. Which, the older you get, the more you do. But sometimes you go and you're like, I don't really know what I'm gonna ask you for. I know the sort of meat that I want, but you're gonna have to help me along the way to exactly what it is.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go and there's this butcher at Preston Market. They're just absolute dog shit, man. They're like big one on the corner, and they're constantly Bo was telling me about this, friend of the show, Bo. He went and bought a tray of, I can't remember what it was from them, but a tray of something. And, they were like, oh yeah, we'll give you the whole tray for $20. And it was just shit. It was just the awful fatty bits of whatever he was getting. I just remember going there, I'm like, oh, I really want to make a good homemade hamburger. And so, I'm like, oh yeah, I'll get such and such cut, like ground, this amount fat, lean mix or whatever. And I go like, oh, can I get this? And he's like, oh, wow, what are you making? And I'm like, burgers. And he's like, this mince is pretty good for burgers. And he starts like getting it like, I didn't want that dough. And it wasn't. It was terrible. It was really bad. It was obviously just whatever beef mince they had. Like, this is your job. Like, part of the reason that we have butchers is that I can ask you for a very specific type of meat and you get it ready for me. You're meant to be helping me here and instead you're hindering me.
Yeah. Was on goods and products and whatever you'd call it on the market. Have you been to the fish place at the Preston Northcote Plaza? That's the Northcote Plaza. I now think that it was my fault this conversation I had with the
No, I haven't. I've never bought fish from there. Like I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. So I went there the other day and I was like, hey, could I get 500 grams of white fillets? And then they were like, I'm out of white fillets. What are you cooking? And I was like, fish cakes. And they were like, the Trevali's beautiful. And I was like, this is exactly what I needed. Yeah. And they were like, how's this? 664 grams. Once I've skinned it and boned it, it'll be 500 grams. I was like, perfect. Yeah. This is the service I need. Yeah. Especially when you're out of the thing I asked for. Yeah. This is exactly what I wanted.
Exactly right.
It was incredible. It was delicious.
Yeah. Hey, shout out to the Preston Northcote Plaza.
Limnos Fisheries. The WNBA Finals 2024. Can you believe we're here?
I was legitimately thinking about this the other day. It feels like yesterday that Kayla George was playing in the closeout game of the WNBA Finals. True. Like, that feels so recent.
Yeah. That feels more recently than the Olympics.
Yeah. Wow. And we're gonna have another Aussie. We're gonna have another Aussie in the WNBA Finals. So
are we gonna have another? We're gonna have another Aussie WNBA champion. Alana Smith or Sandy Brundello.
There you go. Nice. That's good. That's
Cop
good.
That. But yeah, this the finals really roadrunnered us.
Yeah.
Wait, Roadrunner, is that the one that guy?
Yeah. Oh yeah. We're like they're Roadrunner and we're Wile E. Coyote.
Yeah, that's right. Cool. Nailed it.
I'm into that.
God, we got there. So who do you reckon's gonna win? Liberty Lynx, 32-8 for the season. For the Liberty, was it 30 and 10 for the 30 Lynx, and 10 for the Lynx? Who are you feeling? What are you feeling just going into the finals as a viewer?
Gut feeling is Lynx. Gut feeling and who I want to win as well is Lynx. Like, even though they've obviously they've had a less perfect route. Like the Liberty had one game where, like you said, it was like, oh, this is a disaster. They might never win again. But that's what the Las Vegas Aces do to you. Whereas the Lynx have had, they've had to earn their wins a lot more, I think, in this series against the Sun. But like the way they play basketball is so good.
The Lynx.
Yeah. It's so fun. It's so entertaining. Like their ball movement is incredible. Everyone just is willing to contribute in any way possible. Like, speaking of Alana Smith, like just the little things she does, to win her team the game is incredible. Like she does everything. Yeah. And I think everyone on that roster is completely locked into that mindset. In terms of like a little bit, maybe, less vibey and more analytical. I still think the Liberty have better top end talent, but I'm really, really, really valuing the depth, just that little bit more depth that the Lynx have.
Yeah.
I like their 1 through 7 just feels a tiny, tiny bit better than the Liberty's 1 through 7.
Yeah.
How would you feel about that?
Yeah, I think I'd pick the Lynx as well. This is what I was thinking. Who's the best player in this series?
Yeah. It's probably
Nafisa Collier.
Yeah.
Which is awesome.
Yeah.
But that's crazy. I really feel confident in saying that it's Nafisa Collier.
Yeah.
And I just think their coaching is it'll be noticeably better, especially like on the fly coaching for the Lynx over the Liberty. Will just be noticeably better. And I think at the start of the playoffs, at the start of the year, this matchup would have been more lopsided. Even at the start of the playoffs, it would still be more in the favor of the Liberty. But now that we're here, you're going to need advantages wherever they come, because this is like by no means is there a clear cut favorite. If I had to make a pick, I would pick the Liberty, but I'll definitely be rooting for the Lynx.
Yeah.
And there's still so many realistic avenues that they win, but yeah, and like the things that are pulling me towards the Liberty are like Stewie, obviously, even though I feel like she has taken a step back from what she was like in Seattle years ago.
Yeah.
But like it is like Fibic and like Ionescu is like really she laid an egg in that loss against the Aces, but she's just taken such a step in terms of generating the entire offense for the team sometimes. And then they do have like Benai Laney and Kayla Thornton, who are just like super gritty wings that can take 2 shots in a game or 11.
Yeah.
And you're kind of happy with them doing either. Vandersloot is like been, she's like just backing up.
Yeah.
But like she's just such an incredible table setter to bring off the bench, especially with Ionescu playing this way. And then we already know how well Vandersloot and Ionescu can play next to each other. Yeah. And like I haven't even mentioned Jonquel Jones because I just feel like you know what you're going to get from Jonquel. I feel like you know what you're going to get from her more so than in previous years. But I think those are the things that are going to win them a championship, especially when compared to last season, is that now they do have depth and some of their bench players are empowered and they have had this what would you call it? Like the moves around the edges have really been important and they've been 100%. Valued. And they've just been the strongest team all year,
Yeah. Like the addition of Fijovic might be like the most significant like edge case, that anyone's made. You know? Like in terms of how much she's actually contributing to winning and what role she has. It's so hard to bet against the New York Liberty in this situation.
Yeah.
Are there any adjustments you think these teams are going to be making going into the finals, or is it just keep the ball rolling?
I think it's keep the ball rolling. It's got to be keep the ball rolling. Both teams starting lineups are really strong. This is something else on the Lynx that that has just been evident all playoffs long. It was evident all season long, and it was like, I wonder if this will still be the case in the playoffs. But there's so many players you can look at on the roster and feel like the points are coming from them.
Yeah.
Like Carlton has had so many games where she's scored into the teens. Collie is just going crazy.
Yeah.
Like she's just going insane.
Carlton stank it up in Game 5, but was like still really important.
Yeah.
Every moment she was out there.
Yeah. She's making like massive defensive plays. Kayla McBride, what did she have, 11 or 12 points in the first quarter?
Yeah.
She just popped up and got them a lead and then just coasted the rest of the game.
Yeah.
And then Williams popped up in the second quarter.
These players can just 6 and 6 at the end of the half.
These players can just go on these individual streaks and then play off each other really well. And then just like when they're called upon, they can make the most of their opportunities. So I think I like that for the Lynx. I feel like there's so many different looks that they can throw at the Liberty. Whereas the Liberty is just like this big chugging juggernaut.
Yeah.
That it's all like they're all firing, but as soon as one of them stops firing, that really they really have to like regroup around a new system and a new core.
Yeah.
Whereas the Lynx can like throw these little things in every once in a while.
Yeah.
But I just think that the Liberty are too strong, and I feel like they will make it work 3 times out of 5.
Yeah. One thing that I forgot to say when we were talking about the Liberty and the Aces was we got some great Stewie v Asia moments finally in Game 4. Like I think they blocked each other like within a few minutes of each other, like in fast break situations, which is so sick. Like you just want to see like the best players in the league actually physically playing against each other, and I think we're going to get a lot of that in this series. Like we're going to see Nafisa Collier versus Brianna Stewart. I mean, how do you feel about that front court battle more generally? Like, do you think Alana Smith is sort of up to the task of guarding, 2 former MVP forward/centers?
I think she is. I think she brings a lot to the table, and she'll be more than just defending well. She won't be afraid to bring the game to them.
Yeah.
Like she won't just let JJ get to a spot and Stewie be comfortable. She'll take the game to her. She's comfortable fouling. Like everyone in the world knows that Alana Smith isn't afraid to get fouled out of a game. But especially knowing that Maisha Hines-Allen is there as a backup to just be like, to then come in and then be the steady defender. Yeah, we spoke about it when the trade happened, and it's just been the case throughout the season. And now into the playoffs. And then Dorka Juhas just has to be the fourth string big. And she had some great moments in last year's playoffs. She's had some really solid production this season. So yeah, I think they've got not only like not only like are Alana Smith and Nafisa Collier just incredible defenders, and like they'll make plays and they'll take the game to them. They have so much insurance in Hines-Allen and Juhas.
Yeah. They've got the talent and they've got the personnel. They've got backup. Yeah.
And it won't just be about can the Lynx front court keep up with the Liberty. There'll be stretches where it's like the Lynx front court is in control.
100%.
Yeah.
Collier has been... she's just been insane. Like
this playoffs has been ridiculous.
It's just been... And just making opposition defenders look stupid as well. Like that you just can't stop her from getting a very, very easy look at the basket. Yeah. And then she's been so good on the defensive end as well. It'll be such an interesting matchup because like I feel like Stewie has such a she's got such like an elevator of output.
True. She
can be the best player in the world and then she can kind of like take 2 or 3 steps back for other people on the team. And it'll be interesting to be like, all right, well, what do we need from you in this final series?
I don't feel like Sandy will make her as deadly as Reeve will make Collier. So going through Nafisa Collier's playoff game log in reverse order, Game 5 against the Connecticut Sun, 27 points. 29 in Game 4, 26 in Game 3, 9 in Game 2, which was like her one bad game for the playoffs, in a Lynx win anyway. 19 in Game 1, which is well under her playoff average. Phoenix series, the second game of the Phoenix series,
I forgot about this.
42 points, Game 1, 38 points. Crazy, man. 80 points over 2 games.
It's nuts.
Yeah, insane. In 40-minute games as well.
Yeah.
She's just been incredible. And she's just like, she's now, she's just firing. Yeah. I can't wait. This is going to be awesome.
Yeah, it's going to be really good.
So what's your tip?
Fuck. See, what I want to say is prediction, Liberty.
Yeah.
Pick Lynx.
Okay.
Is the distinction clear enough there?
It's clear enough. But like,
I'm not betting against the Liberty. Like
blank in what?
Okay. I'm going to go Liberty in 5.
I'm going Liberty in 5. Yeah. I'm also kind of hoping for team in 5.
Yeah. It's got to be. Yeah. It's got to be like that. Nafisa Collier is her birthday in that Phoenix series. Shout out, fellow Virgo. We're probably, it's all these players. Yeah, of course. September 23rd, 1996. And then... which is 5 days after I was born. And then I think Alana Smith is, she's also September 1996. Yeah, 10th of September 1996.
Oh my God. It's Virgo season still, isn't it?
Yeah. No. It's Libra season now. But
Wow.
But shout out, I've got some kindred spirits in Minnesota.
Yeah. Oh, so you'd be a better person to ask than anyone.
Yeah.
What do you reckon they're going to do in the finals?
What do you mean?
What's their output going to be like? What can we expect for a Virgo in the middle of October?
Oh man, I think a lot. I think October. The way I experienced Virgo season as a Virgo, is I'm just like, fuck yeah, spring's here, and then it's just not a very exciting month.
Mm-hmm.
And then October comes, and you're like, all right, it's here now.
Yeah,
I've prepped myself up to dominate the next 4 months of my life.
Okay, cool.
So I reckon they'll do well.
Awesome, I'm on board. I said Liberty in 5, and I did have something else that I was going to say, but I cannot recall for now. So I guess that's what I was going to say. When this series is over, the WNBL will be like a week away. Isn't that crazy?
So good.
It's non-stop.
Yeah,
this
really
basketball
is.
thing.
It is, man. We would. God, we put in the hard yards, don't
God,
we?
basketball never stops, and we could talk about basketball forever. All right, see ya.
Bye.
Yo.